So do you have any recommendations for how a college student can get connected to mentors or someone to shadow? I know I don't have a lot to offer in return, but I've worked unpaid just to learn under someone given the opportunity.
Great. What's your advice to them?
I would say start reaching out on, like, go on LinkedIn, go on social, like find people, wherever they're easiest to get a hold of, and, just show interest in the most genuine way. Like, don't be like you're trying to gain something.
Don't be self-serving.
Don't be self-serving. Like, say, here's how I can help you. Here's what I'm offering or can offer to you. And I'm just trying to learn and, spend either, whether it be 2 weeks or 3 months, whatever the time frame might be.
That's great. I bet a lot of people probably want to be mentored by you.
That's it. Yeah, I'd love to mentor.
Do you have a mentee?
I don't know. I would be happy to.
So how would you want somebody to reach out to you?
Someone can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Do you respond to your LinkedIn?
Like if it's,
if it's meaningful.
Yeah, if it's meaningful, I definitely will.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So let's give Sam a mentee. If you are watching this, you want someone who is a chief marketing officer to mentor you, Sam is your girl.
I'm here.
All right, that's great.
Here's a good one. Should you tell...
Sometimes the grammar's real off. So you just you read it and you're like, I'm not sure how this is supposed to go, but you just go with it.
Okay, let's try this. Should you tell your current manager that you are applying, interviewing externally? I have a great relationship with my boss, but I've been asking for a raise promotion for 2 years and keep being asked to hold on. I don't want to surprise them if I accept an offer elsewhere.
Ooh, okay. What do you think, Sam?
I think this is a tricky one. I think it depends on the relationship with your manager. I think you should be transparent in terms of you want to give them a heads up. I think how you should say to them, I know you're telling me to hold on about a promotion, but I'm ready to look externally if you're not going to give me this and see how they respond to that.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
I think if you haven't gotten a raise or a promotion in 2 years, I don't know. Look, I think sometimes people have unrealistic expectations for raises. Look, normal raises are between 1% and 8%. When you say, I think that's kind of normal. So if you're expecting 100% raise, you might be barking up the wrong tree. But if you haven't gotten a raise, I don't think getting promoted every 2 years is realistic.
No.
I think that's reasonable. But if you also haven't gotten a raise, your company might not be in the best position, or you might not be doing the best work.
Yes.
So I think it's a good thing to have a conversation with your manager and basically be like, what's up? Am I holding on because the company isn't in a great place? Am I holding on because I've got to develop some skills that I don't have, or display some maturity that I haven't, or do whatever? Or is it that it's never going to happen?
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes forcing that kind of conversation respectfully with your boss can yield some good results.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you agree with that?
I totally agree.
Have you ever had a bad boss?
Yes. Years ago.
How did you leave your bad boss?
We left at that point probably, I think I was moving cities.
Okay, you're I'm not just quitting you, I'm quitting the entire city.
Yeah, it was going into a new industry, going into alcohol, going into new industry.
So you were leaving an industry for a new industry.
Yeah, so that one was more, it just made sense.
Like a life change.
Yeah, going from agencies to brand, client side. Yep. So I think at that point it was just, this is a big move. So
I'm making the move.
Yeah, but I've had conversations like this, and I agree with, you shouldn't expect to be promoted in a given time frame. I think it's when you feel your skill set's ready for that, or that you've done what you needed to do within that position.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another question?
Sure.
All right.
Let's do another. Any advice on what to do when an older male colleague says in a call with cross-functional team members that you are inexperienced and not trained? He works on a different team, and I made my boss aware of the comments after he called, but now I'm at a loss.
Ooh, okay. This is a good one, Sam.
Yeah. This is a good one.
I mean, this is where I'm trying to be more mature. I had a great display of maturity this week. Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So Sunday night, I get an email, and it wildly pissed me off. Okay. Just when you're in bed on Sunday night and you've been bored since 2 p.m. and you're just I'm crazy. I was just itching to get back to work on Monday. Does this ever happen to you, Sam? Yeah. Okay. So I'm there, and this email makes me so mad. And so then I was like, so then I craft the ultimate bitchy, not bitchy zinger, I'm going to bury you in my points email. And then I was then I like let it sit there. I closed my phone, or I, put my phone down. And then I was like, you know what? That's not an appropriate email to send. So then I deleted it. Then I wrote another email. And my second email was, hey, why don't blah, blah, blah. But it still had like a 10% zinger in it. If the real email was like a 2,000, this was like a 10%. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And that was the right, mature thing to do.
Yes. That's something
Does that ever happen to you?
Oh, it absolutely
Do people
does.
make you mad, Sam? You seem so nice.
No, I have two
You're
sides.
like
Yeah.
I'm
a Gemini.
You're a Gemini? Yeah, you're okay.
That's
Watch out for you.
Exactly.
Oh, you are too?
Yeah.
Oh, I
I've
love
never
it.
seen Mackenzie mad, but I do not want to see that.
That's it, yeah. So I have I can zing.
get mad.
Jason always says, I can bring it out when needed.
Okay, so but this isn't this topic. So
Yeah.
if you're on a conference call and you have an older colleague who's senior to you who says that you're, what was it,
Inexperienced and not trained.
I would be like, you're old and irrelevant. That's what I would want to say coming out of my mouth, which is why I said that story.
Yeah.
I think if I was on that conference call, I think I would take the time to make it really awkward.
Yeah.
In the moment. Just like, wait, excuse me? Like, hey, Bob, can you repeat that? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And I'm really open. You've got to be like real nice and open at that point, but make it uncomfortable. So I think you're like, hey, I would love to talk more about that. I think if you've told your boss that happened, the wild move, and I would highly recommend it, is to write Bob and be like, hey, Bob, I heard you on the call the other day.
Yeah.
That, as I'm sure it was intended, did not make me feel great. I'd love to hear more about your perspective, and I would force a one-on-one with Bob. What would you do?
I would do the same, and I would say, give me
specific examples.
Yep. Because most likely they don't.
Most likely it's like there's a bigger issue afoot, or you're threatening to the person, or that guy doesn't like change or whatever. So
Yes.
let us know if you do that.
This one's it. So thoughts on changing industries. I work in the automotive industry currently, and I've always been curious about transitioning to something in tech or similar. I'm currently the executive director of marketing at a family-owned business, and I'm starting to think about what's next. What's the best way to convey skill sets that come from an unrelated industry?
Okay, so you've done this, Sam.
Yeah.
And taken a course.
I have, yeah. So how I've done it before when I went from alcohol to tech is there's a lot of relevant, one, when I was working in alcohol, I was working in media. So you can take that skill set over. When I was at Twitter, I had various clients. So I had alcohol, I had CPG, I had automotive, and I think there's a lot of similarities you can pick. So for example, how we distribute a product is through wholesaler networks. So that's our customer, not our consumer.
Yep.
When you look at automotive, similarly, they have dealerships.
Right.
When you look at, fast casual, like a McDonald's, they have, owners of those
franchisees or whatever. Yep.
Yeah. So how I did it, or at that point, is I related, that skill set from the wholesaler and how to sell to a customer, to various customers on that side.
Yep.
So I think what you do is you find like whatever inkling that could, trade over to what you're trying to get into and
Smart.
highlight that.
So I think what Sam is saying, and I think that's so brilliant, is like almost pick apart the component piece of what you do. Like, I make marketing collateral. I have a consumer product. Is your, like, wherever you want to go next, is that a consumer product? Does this job make marketing collateral? Do you sell B2B or do you sell B2C? Do you work with wholesalers or intermediaries? I think that's great advice. And then you just write your resume or the cover letter or your outreach to say, I have experience doing blank, blank, blank. I think this could translate.
Yeah.
Right?
That's relative. Yeah.
I love that, Sam.
Yeah.